Welcome to Prepare for Messiah's Coming, a ministry proclaiming the urgency of present-day events in the light of biblical end-day prophecy. And now, here is our speaker, Stan Rosenthal.
Let's get right down to it. I want to share with you news with major prophetic end-day biblical prophecy involved. What I'm speaking about is simply this: what's taken place in these last 10 days to 2 weeks, and will have much to take place in the future days as well. And that is what's been going on between the United States and Israel, in particular, the President of the United States along with the Prime Minister of Israel. And I'm making reference to the fact that the shadows of the end days of the 7-year tribulation period, just before the Messiah, Jesus, comes back to the earth, takes place. That what we see going on right now is announcing that we're moving very rapidly towards the day of the Lord, the 7-year tribulation period. And I'm talking about the fact that in Zechariah, chapters 12, 13, and 14, and in particular, chapter 12 and 14, which are all about the 7-year tribulation period, God said in those last days, before the Messiah, before Jesus returns to the earth to establish his kingdom, at the end of the 70th week of Daniel, the tribulation period, that the nations of the world will come up against Israel to seek to destroy her. And in fact, it says all the nations of the world. And that would include the United States, I'm sorry to say. But here's what I want us to see. That what's happened between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Obama in these last couple of weeks is establishing and bringing to the forefront the very anti-Semitic relationship that the world already has with Israel, but now is actually being seen and witnessed and evidenced that the very rulers of the United States are entering into that fray. President Obama has made it very clear he's very unhappy with Prime Minister Netanyahu, to the point that he did everything that he could to keep Prime Minister Netanyahu from being reelected March 17th, hoping that it would be anyone else that would not be as conservative, not be as hawkish perhaps as Netanyahu, and not willing to stand up and say the things that Netanyahu has said and stated as it relates to Iran and the deal and the negotiation that the United States and other countries that are involved in trying to keep Iran from becoming a nuclear country, which, by the way, is not going to happen if the negotiations that are now in play do become accepted. And Netanyahu knew that. But if he's out and no longer part of that process because of not being reelected, there would be a much more moderate and or liberal party that would come into play in Israel, and that prime minister would be more open to a two-state solution for the Palestinians in Israel. He would be more open to work with President Obama and understand that there would be promises that would come from our president for security purposes in the United States, etc. But it turns out that Prime Minister Netanyahu won by a landslide. And ever since, there's been a backing away by our current president in the United States, is in the promise of how we would deal in favor of Israel in the UN and in the Security Council itself. And I would share with you, it's opening up the floodgate of nations all coming to the point of saying we don't have to worry anymore about the support and backing up of the United States and Israel. Opening up the whole doors for what's going to take place in all of the nations of the world coming up against Israel by the end of the 70th week of Daniel. Take heed to end-day prophecy, Peter said, and I would suggest and encourage you to do the same. May God bless you abundantly. Shalom.
Thank you for viewing this short video concerning the end of the age and how present-day events are bringing us to the very doorstep of the tribulation. Please feel free to invite others to receive our free prophetic video email updates. They could send us an email with their name, address, and email to office@messiahscoming.com. We would love hearing from you as well.